needed to be on 4G. So I think we're running, and it's closing for the Sabbath of the week. And I did get some new glasses, so that would be nice. Don't really have the resources for it, but it's nice to be able to see something, right? So I don't know of the quality of these, but you know, the problem is with a lot of cheap glasses is that they break. Pretty much, actually, they're pretty good, sitting pretty good. They're pretty big, you know, but you know, I would like them more stylish in some sense, you know, smaller. It's like looking a little weird when you're having huge glasses on. Actually, these are worse. But, you know, that was the only thing they had at that point when I bought them. And they are pretty broken as well. I've glued them on different occasions. And you know, of all the cheap glasses that I've tried, I really only had one pair that was really not breaking up, and of course some has been more fragile than others. Now of course we still have a couple of minutes before the Sabbath, so you know, 9 minutes for the Sabbath. So it is now, of course, in Denmark as usual. It's gray. It's not raining at the moment, but it's cold and it's moisty. You know, perfect weather for fungus, of course. And it's a little shady as well, I think it's called. So you can see the what is it? There's a cheese car over there. I see that. There we go. That guy there is a cheese car where you can buy cheese from him. That's on Fridays. So that's a good, you know, indication that, you know, you're on the day of preparation when you see that car. I've gotten the last package of diflucan that I've gotten from, that the doctor had been, you know, allowed me to try out. Still have the berberine, but the thing is, I still have the itch. Now it is not that, it is lower, you know, but it's still there. So, so it doesn't seem like the diflucan is going to put it down. It has lowered it a good amount. It's not, you know, the itch can still be different places where, you know, but it's not, you know, I don't feel like I need to take my beard off at the moment. Now the itch is there, but it's not so bad. So I'm like, you know, wanting all the hair away from my you know, face and all that, and you know, it's just to help on not feeling so much. So it absolutely has helped, you know. I'm feeling pretty good in regards to my beard at the moment. Again, a little itching, but it's not overwhelming. So again, the itching is still there, and yeah. So the question is, will it, you know, if I continue to take this, would it actually totally kill it off? I don't really know. But it takes longer than I would have thought, you know. So I've been doing this nearly for 3 weeks in regards to diflucan, and it hasn't totally taken it away. So, but you know, it does seem to actually have done something. So that's nice. And of course, just going in the right direction. It's interesting in regards of the group that I'm in a Danish group in regards to Candida albicans. And I'm telling people, you know, if you have the problem, you know, go on meat only, salt and water, and just, you know, try that and see if it stops the issues that you have. Because if you find out what can stop the issues, you can then, you know, if you're not feeding the fungi and it's not growing, your body might actually be able to fix itself before you need to do all these, before it becomes worse and all that. And, you know, it seems like, you know, some of these people that are taking money for fixing people are coming out and, you know, pushing back. And yeah, I had one that actually, you know, actually said, yeah, this meat thing would actually work, you know, because you're starving the fungi. And I'm like, hey, great, nice to see that someone actually comes out and actually says that, that would actually work, But of course, he says, regards of it can be very hard for people to go from a, sugary diet onto a meat diet. I never said it would be, what shall we say, easy, but I pretty much did it, and when I tried it out, and you can have some issues in regards to especially the fat. If you take too much fat, you can get the diarrhea and all that and end on the toilet. So you really have to be careful of the meat in the beginning. But overall, I remember the first 3 days, I think it was, and I thought I had blocked myself up because I didn't go to the toilet. What I found out is that if you only eat meat, I was eating overwhelming. They just said, if you're feeling hungry, just eat more meat, right? And I was doing exactly that, and I was eating a good amount of meat. I was like, and lamb chops and all that. But what I found out in regards of those 3 days is that, well, I actually got into where I was like, oh, I might have blocked myself up, right? So I began to, do things to get a release in regards of so I actually didn't have diarrhea at that point. I just thought I didn't actually block myself up, and I didn't feel discomfort or anything like that, but I was like, this is weird, I haven't been to the toilet, right? What I found out is that the body are really effective of using meat. So if you eat meat, the output is not so great. If you eat vegetables and fruits and all that, you have a good amount of bulk going down your system and out again. But eating meat, there's nearly none. So the body is really, really effective at using it. Oh, it's nice to actually be able to look down without dropping the glasses. So yeah, so it can absolutely be done. But again, just be careful of not eating too much fat in the beginning, because absolutely that can. So now the thing is, should I go down to 200 milligrams of diflucan, or should I take the full dose? I'm still thinking about that. I must say I'm more eligible to, or what do you call it, more, pulled in the direction of just taking a full dose than I would have for a week more in regards to the diflucan, and I just hit it hard with the berberine as well, and the echinacea, and of course the cinnamon as well, the cloves, and the resveratrol as well. You just have to be careful. I think in regards of getting diarrhea, that if I take too much of resveratrol, that seems to make the diarrhea. So that's not so good. I got some liver, we call it cod liver pate. It's actually, that's better tasting than the liver itself. They're pretty tasteful. Yeah. So just going to continue doing that. I don't have more meat, and it's closing to the Sabbath, so I'm not going to get some meat besides the pate. Or what do you call it, the cod liver. I had 2 avocados. I bought some eggs because I know they are not slaughtered to Allah. Of course, there are some interesting things in regards of chickens, yeah, whatever. That's always conflicting, but I don't think, the Jews don't have any problems with chicken, and they should know. Some people will say, oh, chickens are also unclean and all that. Well, the Jews apparently don't have any problem with chicken, so, and they should know, right? Because they're Jews. Actually, that was one of the things that I was very, very annoyed over when I went to Jerusalem or in Israel. It must have been the first time I went there, and because that was at the time of Passover. So I wrote myself up to the Passover meal and all that, right? So like thinking, yeah, great, then I don't need to get a lamb, someone else will take care of the lamb and all that, and that will be great and all that. So sitting at, finding out, like 2 hours or something like that, I can't remember totally, but it's like 2 hours before, before the Sabbath, before the Passover beginning, I find out that they're not having, lamb or goat at the Passover meal. And I'm like, what? You don't have lamb? And the excuses are like, yeah, but we don't have the temple and all that, so we don't eat any lamb and all that. We eat chicken. I'm like, chicken? You had to be kidding me. This is the Passover. There needs to be a lamb. But, they're apparently eating chicken. Yeah, where do you see that in the Bible? Absolutely no place, Of course, I don't think I was I wasn't circumcised at that point. That's after my second trip I became circumcised. But that was, I'd had three things, right? Circumcision in regards to the Bible. That's one thing. The second thing was in regards of health, because I have issues. So that was actually my second operation down there in the private parts. And then, of course, the third reason for my circumcision was I wanted to see the difference as well. Because, so many people complain in regards to circumcision and all that. And I was like, okay, let's see what's the thing is about. And really, I really don't think it's a big issue, overall. If that is the biggest issue a person have, in regards of just being circumcised, if that's the biggest problem you have in this world, in this wicked world, it's just, that's incredible. If you don't have any itching, you don't have any, pain, you don't have any, being heat and all that, if you don't have these things, but you just, and you're complaining about being circumcised because in regards of pleasure and give me a break, Anyway, of course they have a lot of good arguments against this, but usually those that are against circumcision are also those for killing and murdering children. You see, it goes hand in hand. And if you don't understand the Bible, you wouldn't actually see the reason why they would be defending not circumcision, they would be against circumcision, and why they would be for murder on children, why they would think that murder on children is a natural right, yet, in regards of circumcision, where you just, slice the foreskin and all that, which, comparable is much less worse, but they use all the good arguments against circumcision, right? Which is actually written in the Bible. The Jews have to do this according to the Bible on the 8th day. So if you look at from the biblical perspective, you get to understand why these people would actually be for murder on children and against circumcision, Again, it usually goes hand in hand. Isn't it funny? They have the best arguments against, the circumcision procedure, yet they are for murder on children, I think someone should reevaluate, their views or where they put weight, on things. But of course, if you begin to understand the Bible, you understand why these things would be attacked, because both of them are, of course, against God's commandments. And the world hates God. So, anyway, so I got the circumcision. I guess it could be more beautiful. It could have been a lot better made, and I had some swelling as well, and that was bad in regards of so it doesn't, in regards to beauty thing and all that, it still works and all that, so no problem there. But in regards to the beauty thing and all that, it could have been better. But, whatever, it's not, But, some people that have been circumcised, and I guess it's probably is easier for getting a good result if you're actually getting circumcised early on, as the body can fix, I don't know why I got what do you call it? And thereby the skin was apparently, so more loose skin and all that. So again, the result is not so in regards of look, but again, it works, no problem and all that. And pretty much the the extra skin when it swells out, right? No problem, it goes away. So again, it's no problem overall. It's just, it could visible, it could be nicer done. But again, not a problem, not a big issue, not a big issue, So yeah. So, well, we, by the way, Shabbat Shalom, It's still a little light outside, as you can see, but the sun should have set over the horizon. And Shabbat Shalom. We have entered the 7th day, and that's great. So it's the day of rest, the blessed day, the sanctified day, the holy day of the week, because God rested on the 7th day at the creation around 6,000 years ago. So I was also doing some more studies on John Chrysostom as well, because of this thing that, people say that Christ Mass is not pagan and all that, and yeah, there's no sources and all that, Well, when you have the Antichrist saying it goes back to that Christ Mass replaced the Mithra, and as far as I can see, actually Sol Invictus is Mithra, so and that makes sense because, as I understand it, Mithra was, according to some of the sources that I've seen, and I'm sure that, much more, but according to the sources, it seems like Mithra, the religion of Mithra, was a competitor to the religion of the Christians, And apparently Mithra had some of the same things in regards of the Eucharist and all that. And, again, they already went for apparently the divine, in regards to the bread and all that, in regards of the, the Christians. Some Christians went in that direction. Apparently not observing that it's just symbolic. But in any case, we can see Chrysostom seem to also have believed that the real body of Jesus, in regards of Christ Mass and the cookie and all, give me a break. But anyway, it seems like that the religion of Mithra had some of the same things that was, they were much alike in regards of this seminary in regards to the Roman Catholics and Mithra, Anyway, so again, how do you get these pagans inside? If, as I understand it, at some point, the pagans was forced into the Roman Catholic Church. Now, and thereby, as I understand, they actually also took a lot of their pagan doctrines inside the church. Did Yeshua go around and say, "Hey, we should, force convert with the sword and all that"? No. But in any case, so how could you, lure these pagans, inside the Roman Catholic Church? Well, I'm thinking, if Mithra, if the religion of Mithra was celebrating the sun birth of Mithra, the 25th December, and the Roman Catholic Church just replaces this, and that must be in regards to the 4th centuries, because we see John Chrysostom, and this is a new thing in regards of the area where John Chrysostom is. I think he actually is more places than one, actually, but he apparently goes into multiple sermons on Christ Mass. Now, I haven't read them all and all that, but I just read the 8 sermons in regards of against the Jews, where he just talks about it a little. But I found out that he actually made a lot of sermons because people were divided on this. They didn't really think this was something new. And I'm like, something new? Really? So, the thing is, it just shows, he's attacking the Jewish festivals, right? Which actually is the festivals of Jehovah. And yet he's promoting Roman doctrines, and he's going on, the Romans knew when Jesus was, born and blah, 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 blah. And this is in the 4th century. And this is something that is new. And that apparently it's not, apparently he needs to keep more sermons and promoting this, throwing out his propaganda, because people are not so sure this is something that we should keep, because there's a discussion about it, apparently, according to some of the sources I read. So he's going into more sermons on this this new thing. And he's really into it, you know. But he really hates the Jewish festivals. Can you see the thing here? Can you see what is going on? Or do I need to totally fix it out for you, you know? He's attacking the festivals of Jehovah in regards to the living gods. And he's Romanizing in regards to the traditions of Rome. Now, but anyway, so we have one source. I found one source just yesterday, just looking a little around again in regards to this subject. And you see this so-called Pope, you know, saying that, yeah, you know, Christ Mass was exchanged the festival of Mithra. Really? So instead of Mithra, we're keeping Christ Mass. Now Mithra is in regards of Sol Invictus. So if Mithra is Sol Invictus, you begin to see the connection there, right? So if Mithra is actually Sol Invictus, that would be the sun god, and in regards to the sun birth of the sun. Okay? So we have the connection again in regards again. There's so many connections. But anyway, so this is from a source. This is from the Antichrist, a Roman Antichrist, you know. He should know a little in regards of his Roman religion, right? Nah, you know. Anyway, you know, really have to be careful in regards of when the Antichrist talks. But, you know, there's no reason why he should lie about this. And of course, we know the tradition came from Rome, just looking at John Chrysostom and all that. Also, we have another thing that I think that was from the Catholic encyclopedia that says that Christ Mass was nothing, that it was not one of the festivals from the beginning. And of course, yeah, I don't see it either. I can't see why any Christian would actually celebrate that. Now, what we do see is that they kept to the festivals found in the Bible. You know, they were Judaizers, pretty much. These people, the first Christians that believed, or the Nazarenes, the Jews that believed, were Judaizers. And the people in Asia Minor that rejected Paulus, you know, the Roman Pharisee Paulus that they rejected, were Judaizers. So, and you can see the conflict between the Judaizers and the Romanizers in regards of the tradition of Easter, which is also pagan. And the people, the Judaizers in Asia Minor, thought they should keep the festivals found in the Bible, and in regards of Passover, and not in regards of Easter, you know, in regards of Rome, Roman tradition. So you see that Rome is fulfilling the role of prophecy we find in the Bible, that the little horn thinks to change times and laws. And that's exactly what has happened down through history. So, but anyway, I guess, you know, how do you get these pagans of Mithra into the Roman Catholic Church? How do you, you know, if you're going to force them into the church, how are you going to make it easier for them to accept it? Well, you could, you know, for example, have the festival of Mithra, the birth of the sun god, you know, in regards to the solar god, Sol Invictus and all that. You could have, you know, you could take that over, right? And then just give it for, you know, call it Christ Mass, right? You know, in regards of the birth of Jesus instead of the birth of Mithra. But what have you actually done? You just Christianized a pagan festival, right? So-called Christianized. You just put some glimmer, you changed the names and all that, and just made it into something which is not, right? That's what you have done, isn't it? Now, the same thing in regards of Sol Invictus, in regards of Sunday. Well, if Sol Invictus is actually just Mithra, well, in regards to the Sunday is in regards of Sol Invictus, in regards of Mithra. You see, they wanted to get away from the Judaizers. We shouldn't be like the Jews, you know. What? Wait. Wasn't Jesus a Jew? Yeah, but we shouldn't be like the Jews. Well, am I missing something? Anyway, and of course Constantine was the high pagan priest of sun worship, of Mithra, of Sol Invictus. And he was the one that gathered the council of the Christians. Isn't it interesting that a pagan would actually be the highest position to gather Christians in regards of a council and all that? And by the way, as I understand it, the Nazarenes was not invited, or they at least didn't attend to these things. I've heard two different sources on this. But of course, we shouldn't do as, we shouldn't Judaize, right? And you see some of the laws as well in regards to, we shouldn't Judaize. And so you see the agenda going out in the world. And collecting the pieces, you begin to see the image, So, but I think, it's just, it makes pretty much sense. It's interesting to see in regards to the Mithra, because I was actually searching into this guy in regards of poisoning yourself. What you do is you take a little dose of poison, but not so much so it kills you. And that's called something in regards of Mithra, and that was actually the thing that went me to, there's a lot of kings having something in regards of Mithra in them, going back in history. So that was interesting. And apparently it seems like some, that it's talked about that this religion is actually, it's one of those things that is very popular, like Christianity at that point. It's like, again, how would you get these people of Mithra into the Catholic Church? Well, you would take some of their things, right, and amalgamate it all, pretty much. And so you get a lot of pagans inside, which proclaim themselves Christians, which really are not Christians. And welcome to Roman Catholicism. The greatest deception of Satan. So, that's pretty much it. Some liver pate. I'm getting a little thirsty, I must say. I should also take my next dose of diflucan and antifungal and other antifungals, and I'm getting thirsty for sure. But it's interesting, very interesting. But I really didn't want to go into that subject again. I pretty much have made a lot of the conclusions. I don't need more evidence that this is pagan. What I do need is to focus on the festivals found in the Bible, and have more focus on those, and begin to make them normal in my life. And that's pretty much it. In any case, I don't have much more else to say, I guess. Just doing some more research, looking into things, So, that's pretty much it, I guess. I pretty much feel like I'm overwhelmed by a lot of things, but it's just, I guess it's how it is. And by the way, in regards to replacing candy, gloves are a great alternative to candy. It might not be totally like candy, sugary and all that, but it's antifungal, antimicrobial, so it helps you if you have pain in your mouth as well. And so it's full of antioxidants. It's the number one, actually, having antioxidants. And they're, they're pretty good. So I absolutely recommend those, and I haven't had any problem eating a lot of them. So, I've seen scare tactics and all that you shouldn't this and that and all that, but I haven't had any problems. That's a lot of bullshit out in the world. So, but anyway, I haven't had any problems in any case. So, I really don't have much more to say. pretty much. Anyway, have a great Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom, and may Yehovah be with you, and Yeshua be a most precious pearl, and the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Have a good one, all of you. So, bye-bye.